Welcome in, everyone, to the UCR Football Show presented by Fire and Vine. The final week of the regular season is here. I'm Jacob Vincent. That's Noah McKay. We'll break it all down. We'll get you ready for the games coming up on Thursday and Friday. Tomorrow, we've got football. Tomorrow, final week of the regular season, and we've got a little bit of playoff possibilities that we can look ahead to as well with some of these games coming up this week. Of course, we'll recap Week 10, and we'll get you ready for all the games coming up this week. Noah, how are we here? How is it Week 11 of the high school football season already?
Dude, it's unbelievable. And what a great season it's been. And now it is really heating up. We've got region championships to decide, seeding to decide, playoff matchups, all the like. We got a lot to get into. And, you mentioned we're here at Fire and Vine.
And we toasting.
First of all, we talk about it every week. And we weren't here for a couple weeks because we have volleyball. Now we're back here on the rooftop. They continually make this place better. It is cold outside. I mean, it's probably 80 degrees.
I got my sleeves rolled.
Where we're sitting up here because they've continued to update the roof. And the roof has got to be, I think, my favorite place in the Upper Cumberland to eat. Okay, you come up here, have a good time with your friends. It is enclosed now, so that's retractable, of course. Yep. The roof is retractable, so there's no rain on the roof. It's a great view. Come enjoy a great Wednesday night. And the food is delicious. Mm-hmm. And I think the best part about Fire and Vine is literally something for everybody. Picky eaters in your family, no problem, right? You like a good
chicken
pizza?
Tenders.
You got pasta. You've got steak. You've got some fish. And you've got delicious pizza. So literally everything you can want in a great atmosphere right here on the rooftop. Now, there's tables. You're going to have to look for parking for a minute. You may have to park across the street because it's a busy Wednesday night here at Fire and Vine. But come out and enjoy a great meal. And, of course, talk about some high school football with us.
That's right. Let's talk some high school football. But, of course, we want to give a big shout-out to all of our all-inclusive sponsors, including Fire and Vine, the show presented by Fire and Vine. Our other inclusive sponsors that make everything that we do at UCR possible include Watson Chevy, Mayberry's Furniture, Nelson Trophy and Screen Printing, Amonette's Eagle Auction and Realty, Swallows Insurance, T-Up in Baxter, Sonia Brown with American Way Real Estate, Nick's Restaurant, Turf Masters Landscape Management, The Real Estate Collective, Livingston Regional Hospital, Fire and Vine, The Quality Family, The Crouch Team with Highlands Elite Real Estate, and Legacy House. Thank you so much to all those people and businesses for making everything that we do here at UCR possible. Well, once again, welcome into the UCR Football Show presented by Fire and Vine. Jacob Vincent, Noah McKay, live on the rooftop of Fire and Vine. It is the final week of the regular season in high school football. And as we start every show, let's get to the UC Top 5 for Week 11. This is going to be our final one? We're going to have one more next week.
We'll at least have one more.
Okay.
No doubt about it. We'll see how many teams are alive.
Final one of the regular season, at least, here in Week 11. We'll start at number 5, the Clay County Bulldogs, 8-1 on the season, beating Innovation Academy last week, 48-0.
Not innovating football there, certainly. But the Bulldogs continue to roll. We've mentioned, and actually we did have a small discussion about this 5 spot. There, for them and Gordonsville in a different way. Obviously, the classification factor comes in. Obviously, Clay County has less than 30 players on the roster. So when we are comparing some of these 4A and 6A and 2A schools, you have to keep that in account as well. But they're continuing to take care of business. Winners of 8 straight, undefeated against in-state competition. Nolan Adams has emerged as a Mr. Football candidate for the Bulldogs. They're playing a winning brand of football. And, yes, do we expect them to be Innovation Academy? Absolutely. But no playing with the food. They handle their business again. It's the Bulldogs team rolling. And, yes, while they're stuck on the bracket with South Pitt, in that group of not South Pitt, Clay County certainly among that group in 1A.
So the Clay County Bulldogs at number 5, taking us to the number 4 spot where the White County Warriors fell to after their loss to Upperman 42-0 last week. They fell to 7-2 on the season and now number 4 in the UC Top 5.
Yeah, and we had White County at 3 last week, so only a 1-spot slide. Certainly no shame in falling to Upperman. Upperman did what they've done to everybody in the Upper Cumberland this season. It was a particularly dominant win. There was not a lot that went right for White County within that football game. White County's still a good football team. We're going to talk a lot about their big game that they have coming up tomorrow night with Stowe Memorial. So not some gigantic fall. It's not abandoned ship for the Warriors at all. They slide 1 spot, and a lot of that is because the team that moves above them right now, that classification thing is the only thing that really hurts them at all. They have a great season so far, and that's, of course, the Gordonsville Tigers, who are at number 3. So we mentioned the top 4. and that remains the case. It is a top 4 and just a little bit of a shakeup this week.
As he mentioned, the Tigers at number 3 of Gordonsville, now 9-0 on the season. They beat Red Boiling Springs last week 42-0. They got a big one coming up this week with Smith County.
Yeah, it's a huge one, obviously. It's the county rivalry. It's one of the biggest rivalries in the Upper Cumberland, really in all sports. We're going to preview the game, but it's a Gordonsville team. Similar to what we talked about with Clay County, no playing with the food. They went out there, handled business, got their starters out really early in the second quarter against Red Boiling Springs, keeping them healthy. And we talked on Friday night on the End Zone show, they have started to stack dominant wins, right? It had been the defense early, then the offense really emerged, and now both units playing a winning brand of football for Coach Jackson. It's a Tigers team, and we talked about it earlier. What is the path? Is this a team that has a chance at a gold ball this year? And it certainly feels like when you consider the classification and the road, by far our best chance in the Upper Cumberland to win a state championship is these Gordonsville Tigers.
So Gordonsville at number 3 brings us to the number 2 spot. The Stone Memorial Panthers catapult to this number 2 spot. Now 8-1 on the season, took care of business against DeKalb County last week, 28-7.
Yeah, we've been really impressed with Stone, and the question last week was, would they kind of prevent that roller coaster ride? They get a convincing win on the road before a big one this week. Noah Potter's playing football at an elite level. He's been so good in his senior season at that quarterback position. But it's not just him. Got to give credit to that offensive line. They've been really good. And the Stone defense. Look, and rightfully so. Everyone talks about Derek Samber and the offense and what they have. Coach Samber's defense this year has come up big in a lot of spots. Another single-digit output allowed. They're playing really well on the defensive side of the football. And it's a Stone Memorial team that if there wasn't an elite team also beside them in their region, in a lot of areas in this state, Stone Memorial will be the number 1 ranked team on our power rankings.
So Stone Memorial at number 2, bringing us to that number 1 spot, the Upperman Bees cementing themselves as the number 1 team in the UC, beating White County last week 42-0 and now 7-2 on the season.
Yeah, the conversation's done. I don't think you can reasonably argue anybody other than Upperman in the number 1 spot unless maybe you have a kid playing on a team or you just got those colored glasses, which I understand. That's the nature of sports. But complete dominance. And they have the 2 losses. Those are to 2 bona fide elite teams with state championship aspirations, as this Upperman team has as well. Obviously, always we got to mention with a nod towards Alcoa in this classification. They're just playing at an elite level. They have running clocked every Upper Cumberland team they have faced this season, and quite frankly, haven't even sniffed a challenge against any Upper Cumberland team this season. They have potentially the 2 best players in the entire area, both on their team, and if you made a list of the top 10, how many Bs are on it? It's several. They are loaded. They have an elite head coach, obviously, and a really good coaching staff around Adam Kane. They proved it last week. You know, there was a lot of conjecture and could this happen, could that happen? The answer was no. It was all Upperman from the jump against a good football team. They have a top 5 victory over White County by running clock. They have a top 5 victory over Stone Memorial by running clock. It's a wide gap. They're number 1 by a huge margin right now.
So there is the Week 11 UC Top 5, Upperman at number 1, Stone Memorial at number 2, the Gordonsville Tigers at number 3, White County falls to number 4, while the Clay County Bulldogs are at number 5 in the final week of the regular season. This is the UCR Football Show presented by Fire and Vine. If you're tuned in on Facebook or YouTube, welcome in. We appreciate you. Comments along with us tonight. Make sure you like the streams. You can like them on Facebook and on YouTube. You can leave comments on both places as well. Make sure you share the stream if you're tuned in on Facebook. Make sure you subscribe to the channel on YouTube. Let's get to everybody's favorite part of the show, where Noah was wrong, where he was right. Where were we at last week?
Yeah, I mentioned I went back and forth on Smith County Tellico Plains a lot. I actually, in our expert predictions column, had Smith County written out, erased it, had Tellico Plains written out, erased it. Ultimately, it took Smith County. Looked good. They had a lead in the second half. Tellico Plains comes back to win. It's the 1 spot that I missed last week. It was a good week of picks for me. It's been a really good back half of the season. The first half we mentioned, there was a lot of newness around the Upper Cumberland, I think, and it took a couple weeks to get a grasp on it. Been a really good back half of the season predictions-wise. And in the game of the week, I know it got all the hoopla and all that, but that really didn't surprise me in that Upperman has just supplanted themselves as the top dogs right now this season, and we saw that on Friday night. Certainly got that one right as well.
Where were you wrong?
Tellico Plains Smith County.
Oh, yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
You were moving on me.
Are
there.
you good?
Well, normally you wait.
Well, it's Tellico Plains Smith County.
Fair enough.
You know,
So that's where Noah was wrong, where he was right. Let's get to some of the games last week. We'll get you ready for all the broadcast games coming up this week as well, and we'll talk some other games going on across the Upper Cumberland. Let's talk about Macon County and Livingston Academy. What a football game that was.
Yeah.
Macon County wins it 28-26, a game they were leading 21-0 at halftime. Livingston Academy had a chance to tie this game with a 2-point conversion with 9 seconds to go, unable to convert, and Macon County squeaks away with a win. And not only that, able to get into the playoffs.
Yeah, that was an unbelievable football game because we talked about would Livingston compete in the game, and just scoreboard watching, obviously not watching the game, we saw 21-0, went, that's the answer, right, that it wasn't going to be. And you got to credit Caleb Qualls and his coaching staff, and you also got to credit the entire team at Livingston for battling back the way they did against the defending champs. Couldn't get anything working in that first half, and then they popped a long one with Caden Weitzel, and it was like, boom, they locked in. Macon County had a moment of fall apart. Now, credit Macon. They were able to make the big stop at the end with everything going against them. They were able to hang on and get that victory. But I do think it's a testament for Livingston in that spot that they were able to rally back the way that they did. And, you know, we talked about the double pass, which seemed like it was dialed up on the 2-point conversion. Listen, they ran that successfully against Smith County earlier in the season, so it starts to make more sense. I'll admit, I was like, double pass and a 2-point conversion. I think I'm giving it to 12 and getting out of the way. But when you run it successfully, you have that confidence. It makes some sense. Obviously, not having a kicker that can put it through the uprights consistently has hurt Livingston at times. Credit to them. And Macon County becomes, I think, unquestionably the most dangerous 4-seed in the state of Tennessee. They were the most dangerous 3-seed a year ago, and while I don't think their ceiling is what happened a year ago, a region champ, whether it be Red Bank potentially is what we likely think it will be, Red Bank does not want to see Macon County get off the bus next week, and that sure is what appears is going to happen as Macon is locked into that 4-seed. And if they can play the way we've seen them play at times, first drives of games, obviously the first half of the season, first half against Livingston Academy, this team can win multiple playoff games. I think I'd rather have Upperman's path as the champ, having to go, you know, the way they do. But then when you look at the pod system this year,
it's
next
not the worst
up
thing in
in
the world.
Region 4-4A, I think I'd take Macon County's path from that 4-seed as they try to put together a run.
For Livingston Academy, you mentioned it, battled all the way back in this game, down 21-0 at halftime, come out of the break, go down and score. They get another touchdown before the end of the third quarter, and it's 21-14. Macon County answers. They go up 28-14, and then here comes Livingston Academy again. Again, get that final touchdown and a chance to score a 2-point conversion to tie it with 14 seconds to go. It was a heck of a pass to Rocco Carwile in the back of the end zone from Adrian Jenkins to get the chance to get to the 2-point conversion. Heck of an effort by those Livingston Academy Wildcats. Unfortunately, it knocks them out of the playoffs with that loss. Still a lot to play for, and we'll talk about it in a little bit, but still a lot to play for this week for the Wildcats at DeKalb County. And you mentioned it for Macon County as well, going to go on the road no matter what as a 4-seed to either Loudon or Red Bank.
Yeah, interesting moment here for Macon County because if the game stops at halftime, I think we look at this week's game a little bit differently than I think most people do. And that is the thing. It has been really a tale of two halves of the season for Macon County, and it was a tale of two halves. Macon County at their best, I really think can compete with almost anybody in this state. The problem is we have not seen the consistency of them at their best. Now, they've been banged up. The injuries have piled up. Tackle football, unfortunately, sometimes that's a fact of life. It has to be a next man up mentality. But can Macon County, very late in the season now, we're about to be in November, can they more consistently play at their best? Because we've seen them do that and have a lot of success at times this season.
Another injury to that Macon County front, both on the defensive and offensive line. Something to watch out for this week in Baxter. But a big win for the Macon County Tigers. Punch their ticket into the playoffs, beating Livingston Academy 28-26. Another really good one was the game that I had. Cookeville beating Mount Juliet 17-10 in overtime. Two of the most evenly matched teams I've ever seen on a football field. 10-10 at the end of regulation. Cookeville gets the football first. They score the touchdown. Mount Juliet, third and goal from the 1, cannot get it in. A goal line stand in overtime for the Cookeville defense. Was really, I know a low-scoring football game, but a heck of a football game to watch and to broadcast.
Yeah, and how about that Cavalier defense? Again, they were really big against Farragut. I know the final score ended up being lopsided, but there was a huge portion of that game where the defense had to consistently force punts. And when those offensive droughts had come earlier in the season, the defense had not been able to get enough stops. They have the last 2 weeks. They get into the playoffs. Obviously, we understand more likely than not they've got a humongous problem in the playoffs in the form of the Oakland Patriots. You'll deal with that when you get to it. But credit to this locker room, to this coaching staff for staying bought into the program. And I talked about it, it's probably after one of the losses. Your culture is not tested when things go well. Your culture is tested when things don't go well. And in year 4, a lot has gone wrong for Cookeville, and yet they find themselves on a 2-game winning streak, trying to stack victories together. And now we're really going to put that to the test as they go this week to Lebanon. But a big win for them, very evenly matched game, as you said. By the way, props to you on the Jordan Flu game that you pulled off.
That was crazy.
On commentary.
Still have no clue where that came from.
Yeah, but he was.
Thank you.
Yeah, well done. I know you were struggling through it. I've been there. It's not fun to do, but you wouldn't have been able to tell. So, but for Cookeville to rely on that defense to get big stops and then to win the game, make the winning plays, the block field goal, that's a winning play.
Yeah.
They made all of those plays down the stretch. What they couldn't do early in the season, they're starting to do it now in October.
That's the thing for Mount Juliet. They had a chance to win this game in regulation. At the end of regulation, 48-yard field goal for a kicker that has plenty of leg is made from 50 already this season. And the Cookeville line, and Coach Shanks, he even called it. Said, last week against Farragut, they were able to get a blocked kick. Well, they got one this week as well against Mount Juliet, and it ended up sending them into overtime where they were able to score first. And it was Jackson Jones who got the blocked kick. And then he was actually supposed to pass it to Easton Davidson on the Philly special. He ends up just keeping it himself and running it in for the touchdown. So they go up, and then they got a huge stop defensively after stopping them from the 1 on 3rd goal a couple of times. An incompletion by Mount Juliet gives the Cavaliers the win. And as Noah mentioned, that was a playoff game to get into the playoffs. Now for the Cavaliers, there's still a small avenue where they can get the 2 seed, but it is very, very small.
Tiny.
It starts with them getting a win, which is already tough. A very good Lebanon team. Then they need a little bit of help from Wilson Central beating Gallatin, which Wilson Central has not gotten to win in region play yet this season. So we'll talk about that game coming up in just a little bit. Big win for the Cavaliers, though, in overtime, 17-10, and won at Mount Juliet since 1993. Only the 3rd time ever beating the Golden Bears. Upperman dominating White County 42-0 on Friday, and it was from the start. Defensively, really dominated them. For White County, only 4 first downs and 62 total yards of offense against that Upperman defense. Offensively for the Bees, pretty much getting whatever they wanted.
Yeah, this was, I thought Adam Kane put it really interestingly, and unfortunately he was quoting Clark Lee for Vanderbilt. You know how I feel about Vanderbilt, but and it was on the cinematic highlight that Goose did, which is a great video. You should check it out. Jump them off the bus. And that's ice cold. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, Upperman jumped him off the bus. It was the first play of the game. Sparta comes out, and it's just an inside handoff to Cole Sims. And there were literally 5 Upperman defenders looking at him as soon as he had the ball. That's not supposed to happen. They're supposed to be blockers, and Upperman just blew it up. And that, I think, because so much was made about the Upperman run defense because they got gashed, and they got gashed by both Greenville and by Beach. Greenville and Beach have D1 Power 4 guys, SEC guys on the outside. And if you don't have that, Upperman's able to put 9, 10 in the box. And they did that because Elijah Fitz can cover on an island. And Carmine Phillips can cover on an island with no help. And you saw that, I think. Even when Sparta got into their Maryland eye, you just don't have the numbers because Upperman's able to dedicate so many into that run game, that run defense. And another thing I think that has been overstated and underrated, Israel Alvarez is really important to the middle of that Upperman defensive line. Got hurt early against Greenville, missed the Beach game as well. You see the difference he's made since he's been back in there. And for all the linemen we talk about, and rightfully so, there's a lot of really good ones. We have not talked about Andrew Bohan enough this season.
He's been so good.
On Friday night, he was the best lineman on the field. And that's really a testament because Sparta and Upperman have really good linemen. He's played a lot of football. He's taken his lumps sometimes. I think he's at like 7 or 8 tackles for loss. Every time there's a tackle made, he's in there. Alvarez is in there. Parker Cox is in there. So this is an Upperman defensive line. And then Colton Johnson has over 100 tackles. So their defense is now underrated because of what they gave up early in the season. They're playing at an elite level. It is not panic time for Sparta. It is focus in immediately on the next game. This is a gotta-have-it week for White County. To me, again, and we've said after every game, That's about the dominance of Upperman more than anything the other team did.
Justin said it perfectly on the Friday Night End Zone show. Shout out Justin for filling in for me on Friday night. But he said, for White County, this is a game where by lunchtime tomorrow, talking about Saturday, you just forget about it.
Right.
Forget about it, flush and move on, because the game this week is just that much bigger than the one last week.
Yeah, without question. And I don't think we could talk about this game as well. And we got to give credit to the weapons. And Elijah Fitz has been great. And just talking to people, Bronson Chaffin is playing the quarterback position at a level with which very few ever have in the Upper Cumberland. And that is not hyperbole to say. And when we talk about how he's playing the quarterback position, I mean at a sustainable level.
Yep.
He's playing the position the way we see college quarterbacks play the position. We watch Kekoa Vesperis, who may be the best FCS quarterback in the country. And the style, and I'm not saying Bronson Chaffin would be the best quarterback in the nation, anything like that. But the style with which he plays, the way he progresses through his reads, his footwork, his decision-making on when he's going to run versus when he's going to stay in the pocket and take a shot and deliver a throw, the ability to – he had one throw. I don't think he had to, just showing off, just a sidearm, and he uncorked it perfectly on the money. He's playing at a level very few players ever have played the position in the Upper Cumberland.
14 for 19, 263 yards and 2 touchdowns through the air. He also ran for just under 100 and 2 more scores on the ground. That's the thing. He can do it through the air, and he can do it on the ground with his size.
A true, legit dual threat. And a lot of times I think people say dual threat when it's really he's a runner that can kind of throw.
Right.
No, Bronson Chaffin is elite thrower of the football. He can make every throw.
You got to respect both sides.
In talking to the coaches as we get ready for these games, they talk about his ability to stand on the right hash and deliver a throw on the money to the opposing sideline 15 yards downfield. That's a 50-yard throw.
Right.
And he can put it on a rope. I mean, it is so tough to defend because they have the run game. And Carmine Phillips is an elite runner, and Bronson Chaffin's an elite runner. Their offensive line's really, really good. They put so much stress on defenses, and we've not seen anybody. And I'll say this again, it's true. They have 2 losses. It is not because of the offense. The offense was great against Greenville and Beach as well. They had some bad bounces against Greenville. They got flat out, did not have a good performance. Beach played great. They are a dangerous football team in this classification.
With the win, they win the region in Region 4 4A once again under Coach Kane, and they will host either Signal Mountain or Hickson coming up next week.
That is a sacrifice.
Yeah.
That will be, I don't know who it will be. It will be a blowout. It'll be a lot to a little.
They're doing this against what we know are good teams in the Upper Cumberland.
It's going to be bad.
It's not going to be pretty.
It's going to be a bloodbath.
So those are the games that we had last week. Let's get you ready for our broadcast games coming up this week, and we've got a couple of them tomorrow night. A lot of these games being played Thursday, most of them being played on Thursday. We'll have a broadcast game on Friday night as well. We start in Lebanon as the Cookeville Cavaliers, now 3-6 overall in the season, are 2-2 in Region 4 6A play, traveling down 40, going to Lebanon, having one of their best seasons in a long time. 8-1, 3-1 in region play. This game's going to be on UCR 2, presented by Watson Chevrolet. Myself and Colin Castleberry will be on the call of this one. Mentioned the Cavaliers. They have a chance to get the 2 seed and host a playoff game with a win, but they would need some help from Wilson Central beating Gallatin. You see Noah giving me the look. It's very, very unlikely, but there is a path there.
The second part is especially not going to happen.
Right. So, again, if the Cavaliers win and then Wilson Central loses, it doesn't matter. They're still the 4 seed, but based on tiebreakers, even though everybody would have the same record in the region outside of Green Hill. So most likely going to be the 4 seed going to Oakland next week. However, still a lot to be played for in this football game. But Lebanon, I mentioned 8-1 on the season. Their running back in Gian Izetta has over 200 yards rushing in 3 straight games. He's missed a few games this season. He's only played in 6.5 games due to injury. He has almost 1,200 yards total on the season. He has been really, really good.
Yeah, he has. Chuck Gentry, of course, a lot of Upper Cumberland roots. He's a really good coach. They had a couple of down years. There were times last year, the past couple of years, and we don't know the ins and outs and who can handle a certain workload, who can't, where I felt like maybe they weren't feeding their best back at times. That is not the case this year with Lebanon. They are certainly feeding their best back, and this is a big challenge because I think early in the season, because of the schedule, people looked at Lebanon and said, are they a real undefeated team? No, they were a real undefeated team. They had the one loss, but it's not a bad loss by any stretch of the imagination to Green Hill. It's a really big challenge for Cookeville. Now, here's the thing, and here's always a litmus test. We were kind of talking about this on both ends today as we were driving to Byrdstown, which we have Pickett County basketball previews coming out as soon as this show ends. You know, before the season started, how did you view this game versus how do you view it now? And I do think we have seen a more sustainable Cookeville Cavalier football team. I think what we've seen the last 2 weeks gives them an opportunity to compete in this football game. Now, it is by far the biggest test in the last 3 weeks. Can that defense continue to play the way they have played against Farragut and against Mount Juliet, against a much better football team and a much better rushing attack than what they've seen? That's the single biggest question, because I don't think Cookeville's offense has not shown the consistency, Jacob, to feel like they're going to be a team, the part of the team that carries them. It's going to have to be the defense. It's going to have to be a 20-13 style of football game. Can they shorten it? Can they break a couple of long runs with Blake Barrett? They're going to have to. It's got to be that upset formula. Win the time of possession battle, win the turnover battle, get a couple of bounces your way. But if that happens, Cookeville does have an opportunity in this football game.
And it's going to be tough because this Lebanon team is built to run the football. They're going to throw it a little bit as well. Threw it for 65 yards last week, but they're not going to throw it a whole lot just when they need to, and it opens up that run game even a little bit more. And then you look at the drives last week against Gallatin in their win as well for this Lebanon team. They're going 8, 9, 10 plays and 80 yards on a lot of them, and then taking time off the clock, but then they can gash you for a big play too if they need to, whether it be through the air or on the ground. They can do it in both ways. This is a very, very good offense for Lebanon. Now for the Cavaliers, they went to Lebanon last year. You and I were on the game there. Yeah. They dominated 27-0 in that game. Obviously, Lebanon was a little bit different team last season than they are this year too, and so were the Cavaliers. But this Lebanon team kind of reminds you of that Cavalier team from a year ago where they're just going to run it down your throats and see if you can do anything about it.
Yeah, no question. And that, to me, makes Lebanon even more dangerous because it feels like the kind of season where they're taking receipts and they're trying to get even on some teams, and you've seen that. So Cookeville's going to have their antennas up here. Before last year as a team they had struggled with in region play. But Lebanon's a heavy favorite.
Yeah.
And so I think Cookeville is a dangerous enough football team where if the other team is asleep at the wheel, they could sneak up and beat them. Can that happen despite Lebanon probably having a receipt that they want to deliver because of that butt whooping? Let's be honest. That's what happened last year. This isn't last year anymore. And this Lebanon team is playing a really good brand of football. And it's a team that wants to carry momentum because they're the kind of team that you know that first-round matchup with the Rutherford County team is going to be tough, but they're going to have it at home. It looks like if they win, they'll have that game at home. Now, it won't be an easy one. You're probably welcome in Riverdale.
Right.
But they're a team that has aspirations of going on a little bit of a run here, so you're going to get a focused Lebanon team on tomorrow night.
They're absolutely going to be looking for a win because if they win, they're the 2 seed. If they lose, they can drop to that 3 where they would have to go on the road then to a Blackman, somebody like that who is also a very good football team. That other region's just really good.
Yeah,
you mentioned it. Riverdale most likely going to be the 3 seed out of that region.
Which is insane.
It's a really good region. Who are you going with in this one?
Yeah, I think Lebanon has shown a consistency this year to earn the pick here. I'll take Lebanon to get it done. I do think it's a pretty good game, but I'll take Lebanon to get it done 21-13.
I'm going similar. I'm going 28-14. I think that Lebanon rushing attack is maybe just a little bit too much for this Cavalier defense, and they're definitely going to be tested. Interested to see if Blake Barrett can keep it going as well. He was still rushing for about 5 yards a carry in their last game. Had a touchdown in there as well. Hey, Michael, thank you so much for the 100 stars. You can see that in the comments on the Facebook comments right now. It's another way you can support us here at UCR. Absolutely don't have to, but we very much appreciate it. So the Cavaliers taking on Lebanon coming up tomorrow. Tomorrow, Thursday at 7 o'clock on UCR2. Talk about the high school football game of the week presented by Mayberry's Furniture. Macon County 7-2 on the season, 2-2 in region play, going to Upperman in Baxter. Also 7-2, but 4-0 in region play. This game will be on the main UCR Facebook page and YouTube channel, presented by the Macon Bank and Trust Company and Gentry's Power Equipment. Mentioned Mayberry's Furniture as well. Everybody's going to be on the call. Noah McKay, Jerry Towson, Michael Dodgen, and Hallie Gunlock on the call of this one in Baxter at Billy C. Rogers Stadium. There's no playoff implications on the line in this game. The 1 seed locked up by Upperman, the 4 seed locked up by Macon County. The only thing being played for in this one is pride and get a win streak going into the playoffs.
Yeah, and I'll say this, there's every argument in the world that Stone Sparta should be the game of the week this week. We understand that. Thursday night has screwed this up. Just to be honest with you, because obviously all of our freelancers besides us are not full-time, and so they all have other obligations that they have to tend to. So we just don't have enough people to do 3 games tomorrow night. Unfortunately, we were kind of hoping that maybe the rain would force one game to move and we could do both. So I just wanted to get out in front of that. It is simply a personnel issue. We obviously would like to broadcast both those games, but can't. That being said, this is a really interesting matchup in a lot of ways. How amazing how different this game feels than the last, 5 matchups in this series because of what you talked about. No region implications. I think people view Upperman as a heavy favorite in this game. I think that's very justified. Here's the interesting thing. It's the first time in this series that either team has had complete and total house money, right? There is not a region championship on the line. There's not a playoff game
normally
on
you're
the
playing
line,
for a
right?
ton.
It's not any of that. And what kind of impact does that make, if any, in this game? Now, we talk about receipts. There's no question Upperman wants to deliver a receipt to Macon County. They ended their season last year. I think that it is very fair to say that that was potentially the state championship game. I've said with a nod to Anderson County. I think it was clear that the top 3 teams in the state last year were Upperman, Macon County, and Anderson County. So Upperman feels like they had a chance at a gold ball last year, and they didn't get it because Macon County went in there and flat out beat them. And Macon County ran all over Upperman. Now, obviously, that was with Luke Gammon. That was with Zach Borders. That was with Gabe Borders. But that scheme gave Upperman problems. What does this look like? And it is the last chance for an Upper Cumberland team, at least in the regular season, to keep it close. And I think if you're Macon County, no matter what happens in this game, going to Red Bank next week, if you compete here, that is something to really build on as you look ahead in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, for this Upperman team, mentioned no region implications coming into this game. You mentioned the game last week, round 2 of the playoffs. Macon County able to win it 28-15 in Baxter and end the B season. That was their only loss last year, and it was in the second round of the playoffs. You mentioned it. Macon County was the 3 seed last season. Obviously, playoffs change a little bit differently this year, so that game wouldn't have happened if it were this year. Macon County obviously coming off that win against Livingston Academy where they were up 21-0 and then had a little bit of a scare, still won it 28-26. But Upperman is just, like you said, dominated every single Upper Cumberland team that they have played so far this season. And interesting to see what Macon County goes with offensively in this game as well as they get ready for that playoff game, because obviously that one is more important than this regular season game, at least to them.
Yeah, it obviously is. And that's a factor, but and we've talked about this. In football, you've got to do everything you can to win every game.
Absolutely.
If you don't put everything out there, then you're just asking for trouble to happen to you. And the other thing is you don't want to get boat raced. And that's a real thing. I mean, Upperman has smoked everybody. Yeah. And so you don't want that to happen because that can stifle any momentum you had. You're coming off a not great second half of football last week. This is the ultimate question because I think, can Upperman's offense be stopped? Has been a resounding no. The answer to that is no. Absolutely not. I am super concerned for Macon County in the secondary because Stone Memorial went ballistic in the secondary with the deep passing and with the quarterback run game.
Yeah.
Who does that sound like? Right? That sounds like
do a really good job
sounds
of
like
it
what
too,
Upperman wants to do. So Macon County is going to have made some adjustments there because my point was going to be, can Macon County's offense start to get this thing really humming? Can they be like they were early in the season, albeit against some lesser opponents, and in the first half last week? Can they go score for score with the Bees? Can they drain the clock? Can they get on these long drives and end it with points? And even if they don't end it with points, can they get 3-4 first downs and try to punt and play defense and not just be 3-and-out punt? Because that's what last week was. Sparta got 2 first downs on the opening drive and then had 2 first downs the rest of the game. And when you're just giving this Upperman offense opportunities, they stay in that rhythm and it becomes easy for them. Can Macon County sustain some drives? Can they get some explosives? And they have to limit the explosives. And the only way I think to do that is you have to blitz the daylights out of the Upperman passing game because they just have too much speed.
Yeah.
With Elijah Fitz, with Gunnar Block, with Colton Johnson running down the field, with Carmine Phillips when he's at running back, there's just too much speed, and their quarterback has so much strength that even if you play pretty good coverage, they can get behind. I'm curious to see, and I would expect to see a heavy dose of pressure out of this Macon County defense under Coach Corbett.
And obviously brought a lot of it last year, and that paid off for him. But you said it, too, that rushing attack going to look a little bit different this year for these Macon County Tigers. No Gabe or Zach Borders, no Luke Gammon in there as well, no Raylan Flowers. You've got Brennan Flowers, you've got Matthew Wheely. Matthew Wheely's looked really, really
Xavier
good.
Bentley, obviously.
Xavier Bentley in there, too. So there's obviously a lot of playmakers on both sides of the ball on both teams in this football game. One that should be pretty interesting coming into it, especially in that first half. Interested to see the start in the first quarter of this game.
If last year didn't happen, remember the first meeting, Macon County led big early, Upperman came back to win. I don't know if there's as much intrigue in this game, but let's be honest. There's a lot more intrigue in this game. And then the other thing, and listen, we wouldn't be doing our job if we would talk about this. It's been talked about. If Upperman gets a big lead, how do they handle it? Would it stun me if we see Upperman leave the starters out there a drive or two more? No. That they may want to send a message. This is, I think, what it's turned into when you're not playing Cookeville, their biggest rival.
Yeah.
Would I understand it? Yes. Do I think, and I'm not predicting this, but if it's 49 or 56-0, do I think Bronson Chaffin's in the game then? No. Do I think Elijah Barlow may throw the football? Sure. Right. You know, that I think is what happens. But I don't think Adam Kane is a really, really good football coach. This is a team, and I know everybody's just written it off. And I think two teams should take great offense to this. People have written off that Alcoa is winning the title, and I understand why they've done that. But I think Greenville and Upperman should take some offense to that. They have their sights set on something bigger than Macon County and righting a wrong. But do they take a shot with a big lead if they have it? I think that's human nature that they may try to do that.
Who are you going with?
Yeah, I think Upperman has proven they're rolling. And one other thing I wanted to mention about Upperman. Mm-hmm. When we talked to Coach Kane in the preview series, he said the 10-0 thing had become a weight. Well, they don't have that this year, and I think they're better off from having played Beach and having played Greenville this year. Despite taking those losses, I think they're a better football team because of it. I think Upperman rolls in this football game. They've running clocked everybody. It's tough to predict a running clock when the Macon County Tigers are there, but I'm going to. I think Upperman wins at 49-7.
I'm going 42-7 as well. And a comment from Randy saying it kind of reminds him of the Stowe Memorial game from a few years ago and kind of that revenge game. It is a similar fashion
and again,
coming into it.
I think Macon County's a good football team. They're going to be a very dangerous 4 seed. So for us to pick a game that lopsided, a testament to how well of a team or how well of a season Upperman has had so far.
So those two games on Thursday, that one on the main UCR Facebook page and YouTube channel. We do have one broadcast game Friday, and yes, we'll talk about all the other games coming up.
And Ray, we broadcast every Cookeville game.
Yeah.
Since I've been here, so 6 straight years. Yeah. That was never a discussion in the comments, but that was we were always going to do Cookeville.
So we will talk about those other Thursday games coming up. But let's talk about the broadcast game on Friday. I believe, could be wrong, one of the only, if not the only game in the Upper Cumberland on Friday, Livingston Academy and DeKalb County. Livingston 5-4 on the season, going to DeKalb County, who is 3-6. These two teams both winless in the region in Region 4 4A. On the UCR Facebook page and YouTube channel, presented by the Overton County Farm Bureau. Myself, Craig Cantrell, and Noah McKay will be on the call. He'll be down on sideline.
First time ever.
I'll be on color, and Craig Cantrell will be on play-by-play.
First time. I'm going to start doing it for Tech on the road, so I wanted to actually do it once.
Get some experience.
Before doing it for Division I college football for one of the best teams in the nation. So now picked a heck of a time of year because it's cold all of a sudden.
Yeah.
That'll be great.
But
I'm looking forward to it.
It's supposed to be a little bit nicer, I think, weather-wise on
rain,
Friday.
Maybe.
So,
so
there are no region implications in this game, no playoff implications, I should say, because neither of these teams making the playoffs this year. However, still a lot to play for both these sides. For Livingston Academy, looking to get their first winning season since 2020 when they went 6-5 and made the playoffs. If they're able to get this win, they'd be able to finish the regular season 6-4. DeKalb County falling the last couple of weeks, 28-7 to Stowe Memorial, 31-7 to Sparta the week before that. But DeKalb County's had the number of Livingston Academy, even going all the way back to 2019, even when Livingston was pretty solid in 2020. Haven't been able to beat this DeKalb County team since 2019. And for Livingston, this has kind of been that game last year, even the last couple of years, where, hey, if we can get this one, see what happens afterwards. Well, now this one's at the end of the year. You still don't have a region win. Neither does DeKalb County, and they're looking to also get a region win to finish out the season.
Yeah, really interesting game considering the lack of region implications. And you talk about winning season. It's also Livingston trying to get their first region win over a team not named Cumberland County since 2020. So, trying to check off a box as you move forward here. And remember, there is a misnomer. This is not a very young Livingston Academy team. There are a lot of seniors. And this is a little bit of a monkey on their back. They want to go out feeling like and they have done this. But the psychological edge of feeling like you've left the program better than you found it. There's no doubt this senior class has done that. But if you can go out with a win and a winning season, I think that's big as you do show the younger guys what the standard is moving forward. This is really interesting. Who wants this game more?
Yeah.
And that's hard to quantify, but I think that's really what this game comes down to because I think the matchup, you can look at it either direction and see advantages for both teams. Last year we saw DeKalb County be out of it and really not challenge Upperman. It just wasn't a great effort in that game. So can DeKalb kind of have a better effort for them? They've got some young guys, and it's a lot more juniors than certainly Livingston does. So what kind of juice do they come out and play with? What kind of pride is on the line in this game? We kind of talk about the game of the week. This is on the other end of the spectrum. What kind of pride do you have to go out on a winning note? Honestly, Jacob, I think that's what decides this game. Who wants it more in the fourth quarter when it's cold out and you're not playing for a playoff berth? I think that's what decides the game on Friday night.
It's absolutely going to be cold. It was very cold last week, and be interesting to see what happens in this one. Of course, for DeKalb County, John Hendricks has been at quarterback, and he's
doing a good job.
Really solid.
Yeah.
It's a fun offense to watch. Ryan Lyons is back out there as well, which is really big. But then on the other side, you got Caden Weitzel, you got Rocco Carwile, Adrian Jenkins at that quarterback spot. I think it might also come down to which offense can maybe connect on some more of these big plays. Because for both coaches, too, you don't have it next week. Open it up.
Let's go.
Let it fly.
Trick play, baby.
There's nothing riding on this game. And similar to what we talked about with Macon County Upperman, the playoffs have been decided in that game. Obviously, they don't want to put too much on film maybe going into the playoffs. But for these two teams, why not let it fly?
And what have we heard coaches say all the time? It's true. You're only guaranteed 10 Fridays.
Yeah.
This is the last time. If you're a senior, it's the last time you're going to put on the pads and go out there with your brothers and play. Leave it all out there, right? This is a tough game to play. I expect both teams to be fully invested in this, and I do expect it to be a fun football game. I think matchup-wise, you mentioned the creativity that they've had with John Hendricks at quarterback for DeKalb County. It's a fun offense to watch. They're not always scoring a ton, but they still are doing a lot of fun things. Steve Trapp's a really bright offensive mind, and we've seen that at Livingston as well. Double passes, reverses. Caden Weitzel, we've seen shot plays downfield for Rocco Carwile. This is, I think, going to be a fun football game to watch. If you just like having a good time on a Friday night, I think we're going to have a good show for you.
Who are you going with?
Yeah, I think that motivation factor of the winning record maybe shines through just a little bit more. So I'll take Livingston Academy in a fun football game. Give me the Wildcats 28-21.
I think I'm going to raise my score a little bit than what I previously had. I'm going Livingston Academy as well. I'll go 35-28. I think the offense is going to open it up in this one.
That'd be fun. I would much rather have that than 6-3 in a game like that.
Absolutely. All right, let's talk about some other games going on across the Upper Cumberland coming up tomorrow and Friday. Obviously, some big ones. We'll start with White County and Stowe Memorial. It's huge. It's to host a playoff game. Both teams 3-1 in the region. For Stowe Memorial, they're 8-1 overall. For White County, now 7-2 overall. Obviously, Stowe Memorial on a little bit of a win streak here ever since their loss to the Upperman Bees, which now seems like it was so long ago, earlier in the season for White County, just now coming off of that loss to the Upperman Bees. Can they flush that quick enough to get ready for this Stowe Memorial game? And an interesting one for this White County defense as well, because now you go from seeing Bronston Chaffin in the weapons on the outside. Here's Noah Potter in the weapons on the outside.
I always thought this general idea was stupid of don't win the last week because then you have to go to Alcoa in the second week. I think it's exponentially more stupid now, given what happened a week ago. I think if you're Stowe Memorial, you are rolling right now. You do not break up that momentum for anything. You've got to sell out to win this football game, to have one of the best seasons in program history already, and host a playoff game next week, a game in which you'll be heavily favored if you can host it. And if you're White County, you have got to figure out a way to bounce back immediately. Got shellacked last week. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And that White County secondary, Eli Smith obviously left the game on Friday night. We hope he's okay. Whether or not he plays, they've got some young guys in the back end of that secondary. that need a bounce-back performance. I think psychologically as a defense you need that, but you also have to have it against this offense because they can throw it all over the yard. I mean, Noah Potter can make every throw he needs to make. They can run it enough that you have to respect that as well. It's a very interesting matchup. And what does this White County defense do looking to bounce back? We talked so much about the streak. Had not allowed more than 2 touchdowns in a game. Well, that streak ended in 2 drives, maybe 4 minutes of possession for Upperman. Can they get back to playing that brand of defense against a very, very good offense? Not that they have to hold them to 2 scores, but can they put up some resistance? And on the other side, can this White County offense get rolling? The line between, listen, our identity is power running, which I think is great, and being completely one-dimensional is sometimes very thin. And last week, it was completely one-dimensional. I mean, if you're down 21 and have to be in the Maryland eye, that could be a problem. They've got weapons. Tucker Pinion can throw the football. He was under duress last week. Upperman was coming after him on every time they tried to drop back. He had people in his face. So I'm far and away not blaming any individual person. As an entire unit, it will have to be more cohesive this week. But Stone is good enough defensively where they're going to do what Upperman did because they've got the corners on the outside. I would be stunned if they don't have 8-9 in the box and are run blitzing on every play. Can Sparta improve on that this week to have more offensive success and turn this thing into a dogfight tomorrow night?
Mentioned the winner of this game moves on to host a round 1 playoff game, most likely against Hickson or Signal Mountain.
Congrats on the win.
If you lose, still going to have a good chance for a win as well. You're going to have to go on the road to do it, though. Most likely a Loudon.
And I agree with you. But this is why I say you got to sell out to win this game. Because if you're White County and you lose tomorrow, now all of a sudden you're on a 2-game losing streak.
That's true.
It's just tough to – this is such a momentum game, man. I think you're going to see a desperate football team tomorrow. I really think you – and I think you need to. And Stone had the luxury – again, we talked about Upperman's done that to everybody. But Stone's had the luxury of 6-7 weeks, 6-7 games. I'm doing the thing, I guess, the joke. Great. But they played in week 3, so they've had 7 games to kind of find that rhythm again and bounce back. Sparta has to do it immediately because they have another really tough opponent right in front of them.
Well, and for these two teams, White County hosting a playoff game last year for the first time in a very long time, or a couple of years ago, I should say, in round 1. And then for Stone Memorial, they haven't hosted too many round 1 playoff games either.
Won very many.
So just hosting that playoff game is a big deal for both of these programs, and obviously going to be playing for a lot coming up tomorrow night.
And if you're White County, you're trying to get back to doing what you're doing. If you're Stone Memorial, as we talk about the playoffs, obviously you got to win the round 1. You're saying, hey, we got a Mr. Football candidate at quarterback. We've got a team playing really good football. I don't think, and I think it's a terrible mindset to have anyway, I don't think you should sit there in fear of anybody. I think both these teams should say, if you want some, come get some. And I think that has to be the mentality. Alcoa beat down 3A. These 4A teams are simply better than these 3A teams. I mean, you're talking about there was never a sniff of a challenge for Alcoa until maybe the semifinals, maybe, and usually not until the championship game. The 4A teams are flat out better. You have to welcome the challenge. And I'm going to challenge the fan bases here too. Coach Bobby Wilder says it all the time. Respect all, fear none. You got to respect your opponents. If you face Alcoa, you have to respect them. But you can't fear them. And so I think any talk about not giving your all in this game is showing fear of another opponent. You got to say, if you want some, come get some.
So White County and Stone Memorial coming up tomorrow night. Not a broadcast game, but one that we'll be paying close attention to and keep you updated throughout the night on our broadcast games. Another big one to pay attention to tomorrow night, the battle for Smith County. Smith County 4-5 on the season, going to Gordonsville, who is 9-0 on the year. Both these teams have an avenue to the region title. For Smith County, it's very, very slim. They need a win, and then they need a Trousdale win over Cannon County. So going to be tough, no matter what, because not only do you have to beat your rival, then you need Trousdale County, who is not in the playoffs, to beat a playoff team. Gordonsville just needs a win or one of those things not to happen, and they'll be the region champ.
This game is always so interesting. I mean, when you talk about throw the records out the window, this is the game. And here's the thing about it. Is Gordonsville a favorite? Absolutely.
Yep.
We'd be lying if we said that they weren't. But Smith County is good enough to where you can't just say slam dunk Gordonsville wins. And that's what makes this game interesting because Smith County's got dudes. One of them's a quarterback, Riley Martin.
Yep.
That's a dude, right? They're well coached. And these two teams hate each other.
Yeah.
I mean, it is visceral, right? You will not hear anybody in Gordonsville call the Owls Smith County. It's Carthage, right? It is Carthage against Gordonsville if you're in Gordonsville, and vice versa. The Owls say they're the only Smith County. So it's as visceral as it gets in this rivalry. And yes, it is 9-0 against 4-5. But if Gordonsville doesn't take care of business, it's going to be a ball game in the fourth quarter. And that's one thing Smith County has done. Listen, the Cannon County game got away from them, but think about some of their losses last week. Lead in the second half. Clay County, lead in the second half. Go down the list.
Livingston,
lead in the second half. There's 3 games right there where if they just hang on, this is 7-2 against 9-0, and we're talking very differently. It's a dangerous Smith County team, especially with the rivalry aspect added in. That being said, I do think Gordonsville has shown that they're one of the state's elite. And if they can play up to their capabilities, I think there's very few teams in this classification that can hang with them.
So that one for the region title between Smith County and Gordonsville coming up tomorrow night. Smith, though, would need a little bit of help from Trousdale County if they were able to get a win. Another fun one coming up tomorrow night, Grundy County and Jackson County. It's a non-region game, but for Grundy County, 7-2 on the season at Jackson County, who is 5-4 on the year. Very similarly to what we saw last week with Smith County going to Tellico Plains. This literally is a playoff matchup outlook with Grundy County and taking on Jackson County in that 2A classification. And for Jackson County, chance to have their first winning season with a win since 2016.
Really interesting game because Grundy County, they had that great start playing a not great schedule. Yeah. Jackson County has been a little bit up and down.
Grundy County's lost 2 games in a row.
They got that big, dominant win last week. We wondered, could they get that dominant win? They do over Cumberland County. Grundy County going to come in there, 20 people in the backfield, try to run it down your throats. Jackson County's going to do a similar thing.
They got some size.
They can throw it some as well, without question. This is super interesting. And if Jackson County wins this game, how differently do people feel about them moving into this postseason, Jake? It feels like they have the potential to be dangerous. But if they lose it, maybe they're a year away. Big opportunity game for the Blue Devils on Friday night.
And for Jackson County, they'll be going to Marion County coming up next week in round 1 of the playoffs.
Need to be playing well. Need to have momentum into that game. You go into that game at 6-4, a nice win over Grundy County. Go lay it out there, see what happens.
Joe Burns and Clay County for a region title coming up tomorrow, and that'll be an interesting one as well for this Clay County team, 8-1 on the season. It's going to be the only close-ish game for the Clay County team in region play. Joe Burns now 5-4 on the season. It's going to be in Salina, which is big. Obviously, a long road trip there within the region, but a game that Clay County, I think, would be considered the favorites in, but still got to take care of business.
Yeah, no question. This is the one game, and we did the Clay County game a couple weeks ago. He said, they're going to roll through region play. They have so far. Joe Burns, interesting enough, this is one of those, if you play to your capabilities, you're good.
Yeah.
If you don't, or you have a penalty problem, or you put the ball on the ground a couple of times on a cold night,
now they're good enough they can keep it close.
Now all of a sudden you got some issues, and so this is one of those. I'll be curious to see what the score is because remember early in the season, some of these games that we thought Clay County was a heavy favorite, they were closer than we thought, and some of that is the style of football that they're playing. Can Clay County, after having not been tested the past couple of weeks, can they go out against a much better opponent and still keep a big gap? That'll give me a lot of optimism for them moving into the postseason.
So that one, Joe Burns at Clay County coming for a region title in 4 single A. Marion County at York Institute, a region game, 8-1 at 1-8. And again, in one of these games where Marion County's already got the 1 locked up, York has the 4 locked up, not playing for anything other than pride and trying to get some momentum going into the postseason.
Yeah, obviously York lost to Marion County in the semis last year, lopsided game. Got to get out of here healthy. You won the game that mattered last week. This is a big mismatch. We understand that. If you can get out of here healthy, turn all your attention in it. I'd be curious to see how this coaching staff approached this week in particular. Off of that big win, knowing you're locked into the 4, knowing you're more likely than not going to Gordonsville next week. Big challenge, obviously. What does that look like, and how quick does the page get turned towards the Tigers?
Clinton County, Kentucky is hosting Pickett County. The Bobcats look for their first win of the season.
And that was originally going to be in Byrdstown. They flipped it. All the weather, obviously, has wreaked havoc. So that game at Clinton County, Kentucky.
Innovation Academy at Red Boiling Springs, and that one for the 3 seed.
You really like to win that because you're in a borderline dangerous situation if you don't, in that you have to go to South Pittsburgh next week. So it is the most winnable game on the schedule for Red Bowling Springs. They have the one common opponent. RBS fell to Lookout Valley Innovation Academy, beat them by 1. That being said, obviously a tough matchup here, and just Red Bowling Springs just trying to build something. But if you can win it and dodge South Pitt, that'd be very, very good. Let's put it that way.
And then Cumberland County will finish out the season with a 6-3 Whites Creek team.
I just hope Whites Creek doesn't leave early, like they did a couple of years ago.
They've done it before. I was there.
And then to just say we're not coming back.
An interesting weather
game
as well.
And then wonder why they wouldn't play them the next year.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Crazy how that worked out.
So those are all the games coming up here in Week 11, final week of the regular season. Our broadcast games coming up tomorrow night. UCR 2. Cookeville is at Lebanon on the main UCR Facebook page, Upperman and Macon County. Friday night, we have just one game, Livingston Academy and DeKalb County on the main UCR Facebook page and YouTube channel. Friday night end zone show.
Thursday night.
Will turn into the Thursday night end zone show, as most all of those games being played tomorrow night. So we'll recap all the games, and then there will also be no UC Game Day morning coming up Friday, as there's just going to be one game on Friday. Tech is at home this week as well, 106-1 the Eagle, and it's a big one. It's homecoming, hosting Gardner-Webb at noon. We'll have broadcast coverage starting at 11:30 on 106-1 the Eagle with Noah McKay, Justin Matheny, and myself. I'll be back out there the turf this week. Thank goodness.
And that's a big game. Gardner-Webb receiving votes. It seems like potentially the biggest threat to Tech this year in the conference. It's a big game. A lot of explosiveness. The two best running attacks in the OVC Big South going at it. Had to have it game on Saturday for Tech. They all are, quite frankly, in conference play. Only one they can drop is at Kentucky as they try to hunt up a first-round bye and just getting into the dance and then having a bye in there, give themselves a chance to go on a long run. Homecoming parade starts at 9. They didn't ask me to be the Grand Marshal. They had Butch Wilmore, who, stuck in space for 6 months and
stuck.
Board of Trustees and all the stuff he's done. I was available. They didn't ask. But
were you? With all your available time?
From my alma mater, they had to twist my arm, made it work. But regardless,
been doing some prep on the float.
Exactly. Come out, watch the game. Yeah. Thursday games are good and bad. The prep gets a little delayed.
Yeah.
But so come out, homecoming. Enjoy it. It's going to be a fun football game on Saturday.
We'll be right back here a week from today on the rooftop of Fire and Vine.
And by the way, Coach Wilder said it post-game, and it's true. Come out. They're great. The Delk really brothers, by the way, are starting at guard.
Yeah.
Had some injuries there from Cookeville High School, so there's the local connection there. They're one of the best teams in the nation. They need you to come, and they need you to be loud. Make an impact on third down. It cannot just be go and sit and watch. Go and scream a little bit, yell a little bit, make an impact on the game.
Yeah, join the band, because the band is really good at doing that.
Tech is going to need it on third down. So come out to Tucker Stadium, 12 o'clock kickoff. Tennessee doesn't play till at night. 2 people may be hopping in a Chevy and driving straight to Neyland after the game ends, but we're going to be at the game. You should do that as well, and then we'll just caravan that way. Come and be loud for the Golden Eagles.
And then we'll be back here on Wednesday for the UCR Football Show. Might be some basketball involved. It's coming up next week as well here on the rooftop of Fire and Vine. Coming up in just, 15 minutes? No, a little bit more than that.
Well, the top performers is at 8.
That's right.
From last week.
Yes.
So the top performers coming out, that column that Goose has. Then at 8:15, we have Pickett County previews. We talked with both head coaches of the Bobcats, Lady Bobcats, the exclusive broadcast home of Pickett County basketball, once again right here at UCR. Jacob's going to be on the airwaves.
Looking forward to it.
We were in the Bobcat Den, and it just, man, the history, Upper Cumberland basketball, these gyms, it's the best in the nation. It's just awesome. So first-year head coach for the Lady Bobcats, Lee J. Amonette, in his first year as head coach of the Bobcats. There's a couple of really good conversations.
Yeah, Brittany Cooper with the Lady Bobcats from Clark Range, went to Tech, and now back at Pickett County for her first head coaching position. So that coming out as well. What's Coach Dodgen got going on here?
He's correct.
Oh, yeah.
On the note,
absolutely.
attendance helps with playoff draws and hosting. If they don't have a first-round bye, you have to bid to host. If you have better attendance, you're more likely to win those bids.
And, yes, Clayton Harris is at Tennessee Tech as well. So there's Cookeville connections, Upperman connections. Mason Taylor is there, too. So
Mason Taylor plays special teams for the Golden Eagles.
So does Thomas Johnson.
He does.
There's all kinds of connections.
if you're like, hey, there's not enough local kids, you're going to come out and watch? You're going to go, oh, it's okay.
Yeah.
They're really
no,
good.
There's a reason.
I've always said if you don't have you either need to have local kids or you need to win. They got a little bit of both and a lot of the winning.
Yes. Yeah.
If you have not seen Kekoa Vesperis play quarterback.
Legit.
And Quintel Quinn, I think, just broke another tackle. So come out and watch Tech.
Same size as you.
We look the exact same.
Yeah.
If you just listed me out.
Yeah, right.
There's a lot of those guys that I'm like the exact same. It's like looking in a mirror, man.
Yeah. Thank you so much for tuning in for the UCR Football Show presented by Fire and Vine. That's going to do it for us this week. Week 11 of the regular season is here in high school football. Basketball is now 3 weeks away from their regular season getting started as well, and Tech football has a big one coming up on Saturday. We appreciate you guys tuning in, whether it was on Facebook or YouTube. That's Noah McKay. I'm Jacob Vinson saying so long, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.